Hi, my name's Richard Gray, and I'm the founder of Lifeconfident.com. Lifeconfident, actually, in case you've never heard of it, is based on three foundations. Number one, melting away shyness and social anxiety. Number two, building skyscraper confidence. And number three, developing cloud bursting social skills. And we do this one very well. We do all three very well, by the way, but especially number three, because the strategies, world class, world exclusive by the way, strategies for conversational skills are developed for people like me, who can sometimes get a blank mind in conversations and in those spotlight moments, social moments. For instance, giving a best man speech at a wedding. But let's not go there, because that was 20 years ago, and I'm just about getting over it right now. But if you can identify, if you get a blank mind in conversations, it doesn't mean that you've got nothing going on in here, although it may be coming across that way to the other person. In fact, you're probably a very intelligent person. You've got a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas, a lot of opinions going on. But just when you need them, there's nothing there. You can't access them. You can't get to them because your mind is clamped shut. It's that whole flight and fight response going on. Your brain has taken off and it's closed the doors and left you to face the music. And you've got nothing to talk about, which leaves you being reactive to what the other person is saying. You end up getting led in conversation by what the other person wants to talk about. And it's very difficult in those situations. And if you're relating, then I understand, because that's me, and I've been there and I've done it, and I've done it for almost 30 years. I was that person. Now, if anyone's ever told you that you can't overcome shyness or beat social anxiety, again, I'm here to tell you that you can. We weren't born self-aware. That doesn't happen until we're around about 12 to 18 months old. So how can you be born shy? In fact, I was one of the most outgoing and lively extrovert children you would ever meet. I was the class clown until around about the age of maybe 7, 8 years old. Something started changing. And I know the triggers, how it started happening. But that's not relevant to this right now. The fact is that it happened, and gradually over the next couple of years I started getting more and more shy, until around about the age of 12, moving up to the next school level, and that shyness started developing into social anxiety, and it turned my school experience into frankly a nightmare. And again, you might be able to relate. And I've spent the last 15 years or so overcoming this. And I'm here to tell you right now that you can overcome it. And I don't want you to spend 15 years in the dark finding the way out like I did. That's partially why I'm doing these live streams. And I'm going to be doing them once or twice a week. And I'm going to do a little talk on each of the three pillars of life confidence. That's melting shyness and social anxiety, building confidence, developing social skills. And I'm going to share with you tips and strategies and anecdotes, whatever comes to mind. For this first live stream, I'd actually like to share with you two sayings that come from NLP. Because more than 10 years ago now, I attended a neuro-linguistic programming course. It was a 2-week course, and at the time I was a very quiet, shy person, and I was one of the first there. I was about an hour early, in fact. I've always been an early person. I can't abide being a minute late to anything. So I was one of the first there, and I got busy looking at the walls, the pictures, the books that were scattered around the rooms, just basically trying to make myself look busy and occupied, and probably creating the impression that I was unapproachable because I was reading a book that was lying around and, don't disturb me. That's probably the subliminal message I was sending out. Now, during that first hour, while we were waiting for 9 o'clock and the class to start, other people started filtering into the room, and there was the louder, the bigger personalities, the bubbly personalities, the talkers, and others, a bit like me, I suppose, who were quiet and just wanted to sit back and evaluate and acclimatise to the environment before they started opening up and talking to people. So they would get busy browsing the books on display, looking at the pictures on the walls, etc. And then the tutor came in, and we sat down. It was 9 o'clock, and one of the first things he introduced to us was this saying from NLP, and it's this: the roadmap is not the territory. The purpose for him telling us this was really to say to everyone in the room to be tolerant of each other and to respect that, this person over here has had a very different upbringing to you, and they might not be as forceful in their opinion. They might not contribute. They might not put their hand up when asked a question. They might stay in the background, in the shadows. And, if you're a loud, bubbly personality and an extrovert, don't try and impose your way of being on these other people. And quite frankly, the opposite applies. As a quiet person, I've often been told, why are you so quiet? Why don't you speak up more? And this is the louder, bubblier personality trying to impose their reality on me. And for my part, I'm thinking, why are you being so loud? Do you need to be the centre of attention? Are you an insecure person? Is that why? And I'm imposing my reality on them at the same time, even though I'm not really saying that. Although, in my darker moments I might do. But the point was that, he was introducing us to this saying and explaining what it meant in order to convey that message that everyone needs to respect everyone else in the room and understand that they've come from very different upbringings. So what the phrase actually specifically means, the roadmap is not the territory, and the roadmap refers to our internal reality. The territory relates to the external environment that you find yourself in wherever you happen to be. And what it's saying specifically is that your internal reality is not the external reality. So, what we perceive in the outside world is our version of it, based on the building blocks of our own experiences and what we have been through in our past. Of course, there's 7 billion other people out there with completely different upbringings, and so they interpret the external reality, the territory, very differently to how we do. So there's no one version of the territory. What's good for us isn't good for somebody else, and you'll have experienced it. You've seen something in one way. Something has happened, maybe an argument, or maybe it's developed into a fight, and you're thinking, oh my God, isn't somebody going to break it up? And then there's somebody over there, yeah, get into it, fight, let's see a fight. And you're thinking, why? What is wrong with you? And, it's the territory, that person over there has got their own upbringing and they may enjoy that sort of thing. They may enjoy going to watch a cockfight. This person over here, no, why? I've seen a cockfight in person when I went to the Philippines, and it was just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It was about 30 seconds of a mad flurry of these two birds, and they had little knives strapped to their claws, and it was just over so fast, and there was just a crowd full of excited men watching this and betting money on it. I thought, that's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. So that's the territory, The roadmap is not the territory. The second saying, this is a little harder to digest, or accept. And it's simply this: the meaning of your communication is in the way the other person responds to it. So you might say something, and it might be clear in your mind what you're saying, the message that you're conveying. But sometimes people react very differently to what you're expecting. And you might be giving somebody a compliment, but then they respond with anger. And you think, what did you just hear? I've just said something good, I've complimented you, and you're getting angry. I don't understand. Excuse me. So that's this one. And I'm not sure, to be honest, what the point of this saying is, other than to make us more tolerant, I think, really. And for me, it was a bit of a paradigm shift when I first heard it, because it forced me to be more tolerant when somebody is not reacting the way I expect them to. And it also forces me to clean up my own communication and simply be more understanding, and not to react straight away when somebody says something that seems to be a little bit idiotic, or they react to me in an idiotic way. And I just pause and think, well, how are they interpreting what I'm saying? What has caused them to react in the way they are? What's been their reality? What have people imposed on them in their lifetime to make them react in this way? And I just pause, and I no longer in this life respond angrily to somebody when they appear to be saying something that's ludicrous. Because I know in their own minds, mostly, they're not trying to be stupid or provocative. Some people are, of course, and that's their strategy, and it's intentional, but not always, and not often. So the saying again is this: the meaning of your communication is in the way that the other person is responding to it. I might not have got that exactly correct. The phrase might be a slightly differently worded, but you get it. You know what I'm saying here. So that's it for this live stream. It's 13 minutes long. I've gone on twice as long as I intended to. I'm going to try and keep the waffle to a minimum over the next live streams. So if you're still with me, you're still listening, thanks for being tolerant of me, and I hope you'll tune in for the next live stream. I don't know what it'll be about yet, but I'll put out notifications in advance, so you'll know whether it's worth tuning in, and I hope it will be. These should be very good, and very interesting, very exciting, very informative, but that's for you to decide. It's your roadmap. It's not the territory, so to speak. So once again, thanks very much for listening, and I'll speak to you again soon. Thank you.